Doctor, attorney,
And now, the official injury law firm partner of the Denver Broncos.
Ramos Law. What makes us different makes us better.
Alrighty, crew, good morning. It is Thursday. It is January 22nd. You're watching Peaks to Plains Weather Mornings with Meister. I am Matt Meister, the chief meteorologist here. I got my mug going this morning. I've got some American Classic Coffee Grand Teton in it. It's a medium roast, has kind of a sweet finish. I'm enjoying that this morning. I actually am finding I need a couple more cups here, moving a little bit slow this morning because there is active weather moving into southern Colorado. Are you excited about it? I thought I was a couple days ago, and now I'm like, oh, it's going to be so cold. I don't know if I am. Today is going to be obviously the last warm day here to get things done. If you're somebody that doesn't like being out in the cold, if you don't like driving in snow, snow is not going to be the biggest story with this. That is something I'm still finishing up here, and I'll do some updates a little bit later on this morning with some zoomed in maps here. But, you know, the purpose when we're all together is I am going to give you the big story here. So we'll jump in and we'll do that here. And I'm going to start off with yesterday. That wasn't bad. It was a little bit cooler behind the cold front that came through. We have 43 in Colorado Springs. Walsenburg, we hit 57 yesterday, so there certainly were areas that were warmer than some other spots. And today's kind of the day of transition here because we will start to see cooler air sort of filter in from the northeast. And so Denver, Kiowa, Lyman, some of those spots across northeastern Colorado will be in the 30s. We might still get into the 50s. For Walsenburg and Trinidad and Salida may get into the 50s as well. But for those of us east of the mountains in particular, this is the last warm day because we are going to get colder overnight as the Arctic air starts to move in. So some of these high temperatures are while you're sleeping, and it's kind of tough to time. Like if you're somebody that's really into the numbers here, you know, if the Arctic air gets to you at midnight versus 1 a.m. versus 2 a.m. kind of from east to west, that's going to make a big difference. The point here I want you to know is that some of these numbers east of the mountains are going to be while you're sleeping. And then notice how much warmer it will be tomorrow over the mountain areas. This Arctic air is really, really shallow, and it is not going to get into some of the mountain areas through the course of the weekend. And so even though we do have snow on the way for Colorado's high country, we will see like the temperatures be warmer. So one of those weird sort of situations. A couple folks saying hi early this morning. I want to give shout outs here. So Tia is saying good morning. Jesus saying, hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jesus. It's good to see you. Sue Link, actually part of my wife's family, saying good morning as well. Good morning, Sue in DC. Good to have you guys on here this morning. And Michelle is saying hi as well. One of the things I want to let you know about that you have as an option to you is the ability to join me here on the show if you would like. I put those comments into the post here, vmix.at/1, small r, big J, big small l1. You can put it, and you can find that there. I mean, it's the same thing every day. I'm not changing this stuff. Nancy given a shout out this morning, so we'll be able to take some questions here in a little bit. She says it's 24 southwest of Westcliff this morning, and so thanks for tuning in with that. You can ask questions about the forecast in those social comments, or you can join me here on the show. We'll take a real quick short break for a sponsor, then I'm going to head over to the weather wall, I think, so that we can talk more about this forecast, because I know a lot of you are really, really interested in what's coming.
At Phil Long Ford Motor City, we've been around for 80 years. That's like 560 in dog years. Basically, we're the top dogs of Colorado. And thanks to our deals, selection, and service, we've earned some pretty loyal customers. And our GM, Mark, he's the most loyal guy I know. Even after I chewed up his shoe, it was delicious.
Great trucks, amazing deals, and belly rubs for dogs. Come see why Colorado drives Phil Long Ford Motor City. Hey guys, where's my shoe?
Alrighty, let's jump over to the weather wall. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Let's jump over to the weather wall here, because we've got a bunch of different issues coming up here over the next several days. First, the combination of the Arctic air and wind over the far eastern plains of Colorado is going to put wind chill values in some cases down around 20 degrees below zero as we hit the late part of tomorrow and tomorrow night. And we do have cold weather advisories in effect here kind of through the weekend. We might see some issued a little bit farther to the west. We're kind of right on the threshold of what the National Weather Service looks at, and so we'll keep an eye on that here. But regardless of if you are under one of these or not, if you're east of the mountains, you are going to be in the Arctic air. Widen the view here, and this is what I meant about, you know, it's going to snow, but the cold is really the story with this. Because we don't have winter storm warnings, which is snow amounts kind of on the higher end of things and wind blowing things around for impacts. We have winter weather advisories in effect, which, it's going to snow over Colorado's high country, but this is not going to be the biggest winter storm we see here through the course of the season. Couple things playing a role in the forecast. This area of low pressure off the coast of California, that's going to move east and give us some lift. This is the thing that is going to cause the big mess over the southern United States, because that system is going to send subtropical air up over the top of the Arctic air that is going to rotate in from the north here as we head into early tomorrow morning and make for some big time problems for travelers. So you see this big dip in the jet stream that we still have. It's the one I've been talking about since I launched Peaks to Plains Weather. It hasn't gone anywhere. We're just kind of getting some of the coldest air that we've seen here over the last month. There may be some wind chill values up across the Great Lakes around 50 degrees below zero. 50 degrees below zero. But I grew up in Arizona. I can't even imagine that. That would not be going outside in that, I tell you what. But here's the leading edge of the Arctic air that we'll watch here as we head into tomorrow. So I want to tell you the story here kind of from east to west over the next 48 hours, because that's when the Arctic air will be arriving. So through the day today, I'm in Holly, about 5 miles or so from the Kansas line on the Arkansas River. You know, we get into the 40s here today, but we do start to drop tonight. So we get this leading edge of the cooler air to come in. But the Arctic front arrives early tomorrow morning, and that's when the temperatures just kind of keep going down. We start to see the wind pick up, and so that is going to make for, things feeling obviously more difficult, and then the wind chill values going well below zero here through the course of the day tomorrow into Saturday. And in terms of snow chances here, obviously we'll have clouds around. We might get some flurries and some light snow kind of as that deeper push is coming in from the east early tomorrow morning, but I think Saturday really is the day when we get the best chance of snow kind of region-wide. A little bit farther to the west now, we're looking at Falcon in El Paso County. We'll get into the 40s today, but our temperatures will start to drop a noticeable amount here in the afternoon as we get an east wind going, and that starts to draw on the colder air. But that's not the Arctic front. That arrives early tomorrow morning, and you know when it arrives because you start to get the wind gusts down here. And that's what helps to bring the wind chill down below zero, and temperatures aren't going to move much through the day tomorrow. In fact, they'll probably drop a little bit here. I've tried to edit some of this model data the best I could, but the models kind of have built into them that after the sun comes up, the atmosphere warms up. And that just doesn't happen with these Arctic fronts, and they just can't see that. So I've gone in there. That's why I was about 5 minutes late this morning. I was trying to edit all kinds of data in the computer models. So Buena Vista, different end of the spectrum. This tells the story of the mountains because we aren't going to see that Arctic air. Of course, Buena Vista is on the valley floor. It's lower than some of the other areas, but after being in the upper 40s today, we'll be around 40 tomorrow, which is a heck of a lot warmer than the spots over the eastern plains that are getting the Arctic front. And we'll still have a little bit of gusty wind. See how the wind there's out of the west? Again, not the strongest gusts that we've ever seen, but the snow chances really starting to come up over the mountains too as we head from Friday night into Saturday morning. And that's when that upper level system will be scooting across the area, bringing us kind of the sort of large scale lift here. All right, I'm gonna take a second to talk about our friends over the deep south. This is the freezing line. This is the subtropical moisture that's coming up and over the top of the Arctic air. And that transition there, I mean, you got this little wedge of really cold air at the surface that as you get farther away from the front gets deeper and deeper. So you get like this mix of freezing rain that at times will transition to sleet, and then some areas will get snow. And there's still a lot of information in the models about where exactly these things are going to be and when. But for some places, you get a big mess. Because if you start with some sleet or some freezing rain or snow, and then you get freezing rain on top of it, in some cases, you can just get like this just solid ice type stuff that will develop. So from the deep south to eventually the east coast of the U.S. into the Carolinas, into Virginia, we're going to have a big mess over the weekend. Airlines will be impacted. Roads will be a mess as well. So you see some of the computer model info here trying to forecast that ice that in some spots is picking up more than an inch of ice. Again, whether that's freezing rain, whether that's sleet, kind of still to be determined here. But you can obviously see how much of a mess that would be across the deep south. And then if you get far enough to the north, there might be this band of some pretty hefty snow. Meteorologists down in this area are just pulling their hair out. Because it's such razor thin margins on what things are going to be and the impacts that result. But you know, these areas don't get that much snow all that often, so they're going to have some problems for sure, and that's something that we'll watch over the weekend. If you haven't checked out the 24-hour channel yet, like if you're watching on the live stream this morning here on social media, I do have some national stuff there in the 24-hour channel, including like the warnings and advisories and everything, so you can kind of check that out in addition to our local forecast. Okay, so let's drill down now. We've got early tomorrow morning here, midnight. Again, for some of us, these are going to be the high temperatures. As we head into tomorrow morning, you see that Arctic air coming in from the east, and it will continue to slide west during the day. So we've already got some issues or some people in the single digits as the sun is coming up tomorrow. And again, it's the arrival of the wind gusts that will signal the Arctic front getting into your area. And you can see that wind pushing west here through the course of the morning. So that is the surge of the coldest air here heading up against the foothills. I don't think it gets above about 8,000 feet or so tomorrow. So it's going to get up against the foothills. It'll try to shoot up La Veta Pass. It'll try to shoot westward through Bighorn Canyon from Canyon City, trying to get back towards Salida. Probably doesn't do it during the day as I showed you. And they'll try to go up Ute Pass as well. So I do think Woodland Park, you'll be warmer than Colorado Springs during the day tomorrow. But when you combine the Arctic air with the wind, that's kind of the biggest impact concern that I have here over the next several days, particularly tomorrow when the wind is stronger than what it will be on Saturday. And you can see some of these wind chill values through the day on Friday, ending up below zero across parts of the Front Range. And this might even be a little bit too high out across the eastern plains. And we continue to see the wind chills stay kind of on either side of zero here as we head into early Saturday morning. Now let's talk about the snow. So regardless of where you are, this should be airy, fluffy snow. There might be some parts of the mountains in the western part of the state where it has a little bit more water content in it. But for those of us east of the mountains in the Arctic air, it'll be really fluffy, airy type stuff. And as the Arctic front comes in, it should produce some flurries and some light snow showers. And then we start to get the snow in the mountain areas as we move into Friday night. And again, Friday night into Saturday is kind of when the main shot of snow moves across the area, and we'll keep that around during the day on Saturday and then bring it off to the southeast here as we head into Sunday. I'm still working on this because I don't like some of the detail that I got in the models. I went in there and I hand drew some stuff, and I'm just going to make the point to you right now, and then I'll on social media and on the website peaks2plainsweather.com and on the 24-hour channel I'll add all this stuff here later on today. But over the plains it'll be on the lighter side. There may be a couple areas that get over 3 inches, but then as you get into the hills you have a little bit better chance of getting some higher amounts just due to the increase in elevation and some of the terrain forcing and all of that. It doesn't take much, though, to pile this stuff up, which is why I think a couple areas could get maybe 4 inches or so. Woodland Park toward Canyon City, I think you'll probably be on the lower end of this, something like 3 to 5, something like that. Parts of the Wet and Sangre de Cristos may get a little bit more than that, and I do think there'll be some mountain areas that get more than a foot. Before I head back over to the desk and we start to focus on your questions here, let's talk to low temps. Early on Saturday, we're in the single digits above and below zero. The mountains are cold. Some of the big mountain valleys will be around 10 below. Saturday, I think we're only running around 10 degrees east of the mountains here. A couple foothill spots, maybe in the teens, relative warmer air over the mountains and valleys. Salida, you may not see that Arctic air get over Poncha Pass or over Levita Pass here. It just might not be deep enough through the course of the weekend. And while you'll be chilly in the upper Arkansas River Valley on Saturday, I still think you'll be colder or warmer, excuse me, than parts of the eastern plains. So, certainly some pretty interesting stuff to deal with here over the next couple of days. Sunday is a really interesting day as well because we'll start to see the Arctic air try to recede. And that could be a really wild day, even across parts of Colorado Springs, where some of the foothill areas are in like the 30s. And then we get some spots that are in the 20s and maybe even the teens. The Arctic air kind of trying to recede makes for some real sort of interesting stuff. All right, let's take some of your social media questions here, and I will do the best I can to answer them. So Tammy is going to Blackhawk for the weekend. There'll be some snow up there, Tammy, but like I said, probably not the most difficult travel in the high country of Colorado and the mountains west of Denver. The wind isn't going to be the strongest with this one, and the snow isn't going to be the heaviest. The other thing, too, that I've noticed over the years, and you may think something different or you might have a different experience, not just Tammy, but anybody, when it's this airy, fluffy snow, the cars drive down the road and that stuff, because you can broom it and just air blow it, just kind of goes off to the sides, and we tend not to have as difficult of travel as some other types of snow. Patrice is a meteorologist. She went to Metro State like I did, so go Roadrunners! She's hoping for some decent overrunning on the Front Range, and we will get that, but when this Arctic air is so shallow, sometimes it gets up against the hills, and the Front Range kind of doesn't let us get as much of that as we often get. But I tell you what, it doesn't take much. We have perfect snow-making dendrite growing layer here, so that's why the snow will be airy and fluffy. Good morning, love the shirt, says Sheila. You need a product line. Oh, Sheila, well, if you want a shirt, I've got a shirt. Check this out. Let me bring you to peaks2plainsweather.com. If you want some merch, up in the top sort of right-hand corner of the website here, if you click on merch, guess what's there? There is some merch. Look at that crew. I love the long sleeve shirt here. I think that's my favorite thing on here because I put the Peaks to Plains weather down the sleeve of the shirt. I think that is so cool. I love that one. Dig the hats here also, down a little bit lower on the website. Like this hat is really, really sweet. It's got the peaks to plains kind of on the front of the bill there and the drop. So yeah, there is some merch. You can check that out again on peakstoplainsweather.com. I do want to make you aware of something I'm going to get up on the website here today. And this is something that's super, super important because there are local businesses who I am trying to help grow here on Peaks to Plains Weather and who are supporting Peaks to Plains Weather. So a little bit later on today, under the Advertise tab on the website, there's going to be a place where you can check out the local businesses that I have partnered with, big and small. And so when you are making consumer decisions, I would invite you to please come alongside those folks and make decisions to help support them. Places like Fetch Pet Services, Furryland Mobile Dog Grooming, Moco Tech. They can come to your house and get you all set up and keep you safe and all that stuff. H&H Auto Glass. My buddy there grew up in the Fountain area, and he used to work for one of the bigger auto glass places, and he's doing it on his own now. I get that, buddy. I was with one of the bigger places. I'm doing it on my own now. Lots of different businesses. Bird Dog Barbecue. How good does that sound when the weather gets a little bit chilly, huh? Okay, a couple other questions here. Erica is asking, what do I think the Latigo neighborhood in Black Forest will get? I think a few inches of fluff. That's real easy to clean. So I'm thinking kind of, 2 to 3, maybe 4 on the high end, Erica, something like that. So not too much of an issue. Brian is asking, how will this help with the drought map? That's a good question, Brian. Let me pull that up here since we are all sitting here together. Let me see if I can get that ready. Okay, so here is the current drought map. Whoops, let me pull that back up. I love this stuff that we can just do this together here while we're all sitting here and talk about things together instead of me just trying to do it on my own. If there's something of interest to you, I can cover that. So here we go. Here is the drought map. Let me pull it up. And this is updated as of, let's see, today's Thursday. The new drought map will come out here within an hour or so. But you see, Colorado Springs and Pueblo actually aren't even abnormally dry yet. For a couple of different reasons. We had a pretty good water storm, that snow in early December, and we had some decent rain. The biggest areas we've been seeing drought conditions develop down across the southern Sangre de Cristos, southern foothills. You see that down around Walsenburg and stuff. This snow is not going to have a lot of water in it, especially east of the mountains. So it's not really going to dent this at all, unfortunately, to answer your question. Let's see here. What else we got? Rianne this morning saying, oh, we love your forecast. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I love my forecast too. Even on those times when it's not right. That's one of the fun parts of trying to do weather here in southern Colorado. Charlie's getting excited about some more moisture. Charlie is actually part of the Ute Pass Historical Society. I am going up there tomorrow morning to do a podcast with him to let folks in Teller County know about Peaks to Plains weather, to talk about my time here in southern Colorado and all of that, so that will be fun. Before I get you out the door here this morning, we'll do one more thing on the weather forecast. I want to give you the extended outlook here, and after that kind of interesting day on Sunday when we recede the Arctic air, and again, we may have some areas in the 30s while parts of the plains are in the 20s. We are going to warm up here as we head into next week. So here's a look at the extended forecast for Colorado Springs. A reminder that you can check out the forecast for your neighborhood on the Peaks to Plains weather app. Lots of folks have been using that. We will get pretty quiet here as we head into next week. Might be something toward Thursday. You can go out farther into the future here. I'll start showing that here on the broadcasts coming up over the next couple of weeks, but I do go out farther into the future on the Peaks to Plains weather app. Lots of updates coming on the website, the app, social media through the day today, especially with that snow stuff. I'll get that out here over the next couple of hours. Thanks for joining me this morning. Have a great Thursday. massive snow.